Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are covering the latest AP Top 25. It just dropped 1 minute ago, so this is super fresh. So if you are new to the channel and enjoy college football, this is the place to subscribe. If you're not doing that, what are we doing here? It's time to subscribe and get a part of this college football community. Now, taking a look at the others receiving votes, James Madison, strong consideration of that top 25, followed by Clemson, Florida, Washington State, who had recently fallen out. So those are some of the teams that you have to consider. Oklahoma State gets a nice win in a ranked matchup versus K-State. They had played very well in that one. And then Miami ends up sliding out of that top 25 with a loss against North Carolina. So a lot of things to consider. And one of the teams that took a drastic fall during the course of the weekend here was UCLA. They played a competitive game against Oregon State for the most part. They ended up losing, by 12 points there. But for the most part, Chip Kelly has this program in the right direction. And, it's awesome to see how competitive that Pac-12 is compared to some of the other years that they've had. This is one of their best years, collectively speaking. So UCLA gets the job done, loses to Oregon State, but they do end up staying inside of that top 25 for the AP. Now at number 24, we have Iowa. They pick up the nice win against Wisconsin in a low-scoring affair, which is unsurprising for Big Ten football, especially this generation of Big Ten football. There's a lot of heat on the program to be able to produce better offensive numbers, but this defense is still good. They have playmakers all over the field, and Iowa at 24 is going to continue to ascend, in my opinion. I just like how good this defense is. They're stout offensively. They got to be a little more creative, I feel, in a lot of different ways to, ultimately produce better numbers. 23 here, we have Tulane. Tulane is a team that's been the model of consistency here throughout the course of the season. People aren't too high, too low on this program. They just know what Tulane is. They put together some interesting seasons. Now, I think in totality, this is a team that we have to watch. They're going to consistently hover anywhere from that 25 to 21 range during the course of the season. So I think they're going to be pretty consistent in that regard. Air Force here at number 22, a little bit unsurprising in my opinion that they are where they are, but probably one that's more of a headliner here. Another big faller is Louisville after an exciting win last week and then a rather disappointing loss this week. It was tough. It was tough for them to swallow the pill of losing to Pittsburgh. Going on the road is never easy, especially when you have to go to Pittsburgh. But this is a Pittsburgh team that hasn't been as good as it has been in the past. It's not as loaded with draft prospects and guys that you're super excited about moving forward. But Louisville ends up sliding down the list here to 21. And that's another noteworthy program that took a big tumble. So people jumped on it. They were super high on it at one point, but Louisville ends up sliding back down. 20 is Missouri. Missouri, when you look at how good this team has been in total, it's been kind of a nice, shocking revelation here. I look at this team as one that, continues to just be consistent through and through. We have not seen this level of consistency from the program since Blaine Gabbert's era. So number 20 is a very fitting spot for them here. Number 19, we have LSU. LSU picks up the big win against Auburn. Jaden Daniels was absolutely on one. He has been so good this year. So exciting to watch. These Tigers are going to have to try to find a rhythm here. They've been up and down throughout the course of the entire season. They can run the football more effectively with Diggs now. And then you have the two stud receivers in Thomas and Neighbors. I like this unit as a whole offensively. They have players like Harold Perkins on that defense that are such disruptors. Harold Perkins is one of the more incredible defensive players in the entire nation, and we have to continue to watch their team moving forward. And ultimately, probably one of the biggest disappointments, when you look at the weekend as a whole, was USC. USC having to go to Notre Dame and trying to take on the Fighting Irish. It was disappointing. With Caleb Williams, we have not seen him struggle this much in his entire college career. A specific individual game, he just looked off throughout the entire duration of it. So to me, it's unsurprising here to see USC at 18. I think it's a little harsh, to be completely honest. I think it's a little bit of recency bias, considering that Notre Dame's still a good football team. Obviously with Sam Hartman and some of the nice defensive players that they have on that squad, I think 18 is a little harsh, in my opinion. 17, we have Tennessee. They get the job done in a one-score victory against Texas A&M. I think Joe Milton is absolutely the truth. He's so fun to watch. And with Josh Heupel and this offense, despite everything that had happened, losing all of their playmakers to the NFL, they have done a nice job rebounding again this year, and they are at number 17. Duke, with their consistency, picks up the win as well. Duke has been kind of a shock of a program here, especially when you extend back to that Clemson game where they absolutely stole one there. Number 15 is Notre Dame. They get some love after a convincing victory against USC. They had just dominated this one through and through. Sam Hartman has been just incredible for this program just to have in the building. He's a true professional. He's an experienced college player. And at this point, with this much experience under his belt at the collegiate level, this is exactly what you would see and hope to have from him in a season. Number 14 now, we have Utah. Utah has been, once again, one of those other teams that's been model of consistency over the last couple of years. When you look at the program as a whole, they have an enormous amount of respect around the college football landscape from people all over, not only people that watch the Pac-12, but even people from, the Big Ten, ACC. A lot of people universally recognize the level of consistency that they have on a week-to-week basis. And once again, they get the job done here. You have Ole Miss and Oregon State, two teams that we're going to highlight here. Ole Miss is one of those teams as well. Lane Kiffin continues to bring it week in and week out. Oregon State picking up the very critical win against the Pac-12 rival here. They've been just incredible. DJ Uiagalelei is one of those players that you have to absolutely keep your minds on. You have to watch him week in and week out. This was the right landing spot for him. You watch his interviews, he loves being at Oregon State. They've just created a whole new culture, a whole new level of excitement for the program and Beaver football. And to me, number 12 very, very seems appropriate at this point. Following that up here at number 11, we have Alabama edging out Arkansas. Now, even Nick Saban will acknowledge how great KJ Jefferson's play was against his defensive end. That was one of the more incredible plays that you'll see throughout the entire college football season. Jefferson is just so solid as a quarterback. He's one of the hardest guys to bring down due to his frame and his overall strength. But Alabama had a little bit of a scare here. I'm not going to lie. There were some people sweating throughout the duration of this game just because they weren't pulling away, and Alabama gets the victory. North Carolina picks up the win against what was a ranked Miami Hurricane team that just continues to struggle to find amount of consistency staying in that AP top 25. They're in and out. And to me, North Carolina has been as good as any, and they've been as good as advertised with Drake May as the starting quarterback of that football team. They have playmakers across the board. They can move the football effectively. They can put up a big amount of points in a hurry, and that's why they are a top 10 level team right now. Then you have Oregon and Texas. Texas, it's kind of interesting because we're not going to freak out too much about what transpired here, but Oregon is one that they felt like they maybe had this game. They were in it the entire time. A couple of game-changing plays, right? And Washington, credit to them, and we'll get to them in a second, but they didn't punish Oregon too much, which I'm pretty proud of, because Dan Lanning has this team going, and I think he's one of the better college coaches in the entire nation. Now, some people are going to say that's pretty early to say that, but for a guy that's progressed the way that he has, Oregon, they put up a great fight in this one. Now, once again, if this is a home game, is this a different story? Maybe it is. Maybe the crowd doesn't play as big of a factor into it, but Oregon has been tremendous with this offense. And when you look at a guy like Bucky Irving, who's been the catalyst for this running game, he's fun to watch. He's incredible, and they're going to keep moving forward. But Texas as well, tough pill to swallow here. Very, very tough pill to swallow. Number 7, we have Penn State. And Penn State absolutely dominated UMass through and through. When you look at what Franklin's been able to accomplish with this team, and considering the turnaround that they've had over a lot of things that had transpired before, but now looking at how much of a powerhouse that they are in this Big Ten, it's going to be fun to watch them here moving forward. Then you have Oklahoma again here at number 6. And then looking at Washington did a great job. Michael Penix made the throws that he needed to. He had some incredibly timed throws in tight windows This guy is the real deal. He's going to be a first-round draft pick for a reason, and that's why he has Washington playing at the top of their game. They got opportunistic plays that happen, but number 5 seems appropriate. Then you have Florida State and Ohio State, two teams that absolutely dominated lesser opponents. This is one of the bigger, I think this was the biggest victory or margin of victory for Ohio State against a Power 5 that they've had so far this year, a 41-7 victory. And Florida State, if you watch Keon Coleman's catch, that was one of the best catches I've seen at the collegiate level in a long time. Big win against Syracuse. Keon Coleman is a phenomenal player through and through. If you haven't watched him, you need to get familiar. The former Michigan State transfer is the real deal. And unsurprisingly here at the top 2, I'm starting to kind of waver on how I feel about this team, because I don't think Georgia has been as great as they've been in the past. I think they're still a phenomenal football team, but this Michigan team is the team I'm starting to believe in. J.J. McCarthy, this defense, the front 7, guys on the back end in that secondary. This is the real deal. Now, we've seen in 2 consecutive weeks them put up 50-plus points and then only allow, I believe it was 7 against Minnesota as well. They 50-plus points, allowing under 10 points. Michigan's the real deal. I think when you consider how good this team has been and their ability to run the football, their ability to make plays happen through the air, they're one of the more incredible teams I've watched so far this college football season. So I think there very well could be a point in the season where we see a pendulum swing. Georgia hasn't looked as dominant as usual. They end up picking up the victory here, but I think Michigan very well could supplant Georgia as the number 1 team in the nation. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more college football. I had a lot of fun recording this. Let me know in the comment section below who you think was ranked too high and too low. Once again, thanks for watching Utility Sports Plus.